Pickle, let's go to the Ballology hotline and welcome in the head coach of one of the teams that everybody is talking about across the state of Texas, the LaPorte Bulldogs. Let's go to LaPorte and talk with the head coach, Coach Kevin Berneathy. Coach, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. I appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us. I know it's busy days down there in LaPorte. I introduced LaPorte as a team that a lot of people across the state are talking about, including here at the Dave Campbell's Texas football offices. Within the community, can you sense the buzz around this particular Bulldog squad?
Yeah, I mean it's multiple reasons. You know, we have a lot of good players returning from our team last year, and we've been on the road for the past 2 years, and we're opening our new stadium. So there's definitely a lot of buzz in the community and the excitement, and we're looking forward to we scrimmage Dobie tonight at home as like the first official varsity contest versus another school. So we're looking forward to opening our stadium this evening and playing at home.
You mentioned being on the road. This has been a construction project going on there in LaPorte for a couple of years now. How do you talk with your guys around the state or around the program about taking over this new venue and entering it and making it a home field advantage? How have you guys talked about, it's going to be a lot of new, a lot of exciting, but in the end it's going to be 100 yards by 50 yards is going to decide it. How do you keep your guys focused on the task at hand when there is a lot to be excited about?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is we've had a lot of stuff thrown at our kids the past 2 years with travel and being away and trying to figure things out, that we have a resilient bunch of kids that, understand that it's just about execution and playing the game the right way, execute our assignments, play hard and be physical and limit penalties and turnovers, and that's the game of football. As far as, the new stadium, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, there's still people out here every day, doing punch lists and making sure things are going to be ready for next Friday when we host Deer Park in a big border battle game next week. Yeah, I mean, it's every day it's evolving, but it is definitely a blessing to have a venue that we have, that our community supported, that our administrative wanted.
Talking with Kevin Berneathy, head coach of the LaPorte Bulldogs, on the Ballology hotline here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. Coach, I want to go back to last year and talk about something coaches love talking about, which is games you lost. You guys started the year 0-3 before rattling off 10 consecutive wins. I know you guys were young last year, but coming out of that game where you guys lose to Port Neches Groves to drop to 0-3, what changed from there? What switch got flipped that allowed you guys to become one of the most dangerous teams in Texas?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. We played a tight game with Deer Park. We played a tight game with Kingwood. Going into PNG, we actually had 6 defensive starters out for that game, and we were pretty beat up and injured, and we had to get some kids healthy. But we talked about how we scheduled a tough non-district to prepare us for our district and a playoff run, and I think it paid off in the long run. And we talked about how every goal is still attainable. We talked about the easy road is not always the best road. Just things that about like, hey, our days are coming ahead, and we just got to come together as a team and understand that these bumps that we have taken are going to build us for a better future, and it did, and our kids bought into that and went to work, and we got healthy, and we also moved up our freshman running back in our bye week, Sean Simon, who proved to be able to play at the Friday night level throughout the district season and throughout the playoffs as a freshman. So a lot of things came together, and we got healthy, and our kids just bought in and continued to go.
You mentioned Sean Simon, who had a breakout freshman year. Peyton Smith, another guy who was exceptional as a freshman last year. The youth movement is very strong here, and you've got some youngsters who are playing beyond their years. I want to ask you about this senior class and about the role that they are playing as far as you've got a ton of youngsters who are really exciting. We all know that programs are, teams are win and lose with their leadership. What have you seen from this senior class that has you excited about this squad?
Yeah, the senior class has been really good all 4 years, or going into their fourth year since I've been here. When they were freshmen, they went undefeated and they were district champs. Their sophomore year, I believe we had 14 of them up on varsity that played significantly, and they were district champs. Their sophomore year fell in the first round of the playoffs against Lancaster. And then last year, again, as juniors, district champs. So every year that they played, they've been a district champion. Just a bunch of hard-nosed kids. We got kids like Ashton Ruffin and Blake Stout and Jake Heyman on the offensive line, Luke Moore, a defensive tackle, David Campos, a defensive end. Just a bunch of kids who've played a lot of football. Aiden Signs, who will be this will be his third year for us as a quarterback. They've played a bunch of football and been successful football. They're hard-nosed kids, and they accept what our town is, which is a blue-collar, hard-nosed town, and we're going to play the game hard.
You're entering your fourth year there at LaPorte. You took over a program back in 2022 that was coming off of a 2-8 season, which certainly is not the standard there at LaPorte. Can you pinpoint for us maybe the biggest differences between that program that you walked into in early 2022 and the program that sits top 10 in the state, that's one a legit threat to win a state championship? Can you pinpoint the differences between that program and the one that you're in today?
Yeah, so I coached at LaPorte from 2007 to 2012, and at that time we were a 6A program, and we played in the state quarterfinals a couple times, and one year we were able to beat Katy in the playoffs, and then I left and did my route and found my way back. And the biggest thing that I saw, and not to say what was happening when I wasn't here, because I really don't know, was we just weren't as strong physically and mentally as those kids were, right? But I saw similarities in the kids, like this kid reminds me of this kid reminds me of this kid from back then. So the big thing was getting in the weight room and getting our kids strong and building them to look like football players, if that makes sense. Because a lot of the ones that were seniors that first year, well, I appreciate them greatly because they were 5-5 and a couple of seconds from clinching a playoff spot. They just didn't have that tone, that weightlifting body that our kids have now, that we've built in our weight room and through our program. So the strength of physical strength and the mental strength of when things get hard, we don't shut down, we step up and we keep going, I think is the biggest thing. And I think that represents this community.
Talking with Kevin Berneathy of LaPorte Bulldogs here on the Ballogy Hotline on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. Coach, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about your district. The UIL, of course, always doing you guys some favors. In a district there, in District 11, 5A Division I, where you're dealing with a team that was in the state semifinals a year ago in Angleton. Friendswood, always dangerous. Looks like they have a great team. Crosby on the rise. There's a good Kingwood Park team. I think the New Caney teams, New Caney Porter is on the rise. When you take a look from a coaching perspective, when you take a look at 11 5A Division I, what do you see on the horizon?
I think a week in, week out battle. You got to come ready to play. We've won our district the last 2 years. Everybody's going to come play their best game against us, because everybody wants to be a champion. I know Angleton. I know them really well. I know Coach Britton. I know that program, and I know how they do things over there. I worked there for 3 years with Coach Britton when I was the offensive coordinator, and he was the defensive coordinator. Our programs are built very similar. We're going to be tough, strong-willed, tough-minded kids. You got to come play. You got to be ready to go. Crosby had a very good freshman group last year that are coming up. Kingwood Park always has players that I feel are very talented and capable, and Friendswood, year in, year out, they're a team that you got to deal with. So, and that not to discredit the rest. Mm-hmm. I think Porter has their quarterback back, who I thought was a really good player. Pasadena is coming back for another year, and Kempner has definitely good players, and that's a program that's getting better every year since Coach DeGar has gotten there. So we're going to have our work cut out for us, and we're looking forward to the challenge.
Coach, you mentioned, final question for you. You mentioned that that it's opening night for Bulldog Stadium down there in LaPorte. It's been a long journey to here. You guys have been playing your home games, 25 miles down the road there at Barbers Hill, or in Deer Park. You've been nomadic. For you, I know the kids are going to be excited. For you personally, walking into that stadium and being able to coach, even if it's a scrimmage to start the year, but being able to coach in that beautiful new $56 million stadium, what's that going to be like for you?
I think it's going to be, a proud moment. I sat in rooms that helped design this facility. I saw it from its infancy, and to see it built and to be in it every day and to see the community to be able to come enjoy it as much as our kids are able to practice and enjoy it. There's a lot of great stadiums in the city of Houston, which mostly are multi-district stadiums. But the thing that our kids get to do is they get to live in this facility every day. And to me, to see them be able to come out and walk across the track to practice football instead of walking a half a mile down the road to practice football is awesome to me. But tonight, it's just going to be the beauty of understanding how much work went into making this happen. And everybody always told me, hey, when it's done, it's going to be worth it. And that's 100% correct.
I'm sure there were times, though, that you were thinking, boy, I'd like to be home, though. Like, it'll be worth it down the road, but I'd like to have it to be now. So I know that it's been a long time coming for you and for this community, and we're excited for you guys. We appreciate your time hopping on with us today. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all, and we're ready for the season.
Absolutely. There he goes. Kevin Berneathy, head coach of the LaPorte Bulldogs. Join us here on Texas Football Today.